All right, today we're diving into a story that honestly feels like it's straight out of a movie. We're talking about a 40-year marriage, a betrayal that is just shocking, and revenge plots so meticulous it's practically an art form. This is the story of a woman who decided to take justice into her own hands.
And hey, if you're wondering just where this is all headed, well, look no further than this quote from our source material. We're not just talking about getting even, we're talking about a spectacular, public humiliation. This one sentence is the explosive climax that this entire wild story builds towards.
So let's set the scene. Meet Juliet. She's been married to her husband, Julian, for 40 years. 40 years. That's a lifetime. Their life seems totally stable, built on decades of shared history. But then, one evening, after Julian gets home from what he calls a business dinner, Juliet starts to suspect her entire reality is just one big, carefully constructed lie.
The evidence just starts piling up, one piece at a time. First, a really weird email on his phone. "You were incredible tonight, Dad." Okay. Then, a dinner receipt. It's from San Antonio, but he swore he was in Dallas. Add to that a faint floral perfume on his clothes that definitely isn't hers. And the final piece, found in the car, a used tube of personal lubricant. And for a couple that, hadn't been intimate in years, yeah, that was a massive red flag. With her suspicions growing into this horrible certainty, Juliet realizes she can't just go on gut feelings. She needs cold, hard evidence. So she does what a lot of people in this situation do. She hires a discreet and reliable private investigator, a guy named Thomas, to find out the truth, whatever it might be.
And wow, the truth comes out, and it comes out fast. This timeline shows you just how quickly her world completely fell apart. On the very first day, Thomas sends a photo of Julian holding hands with some woman. The very next day, it's a video of them kissing on a hotel balcony. And by day 3, Thomas has a secret audio recording. And this is the thing that's going to reveal a betrayal so much deeper than just an affair.
And this is the first gut punch. When Juliet zooms in on that photo, she doesn't see a stranger. She sees Allison, her son Daniel's wife, the woman she had treated like her own daughter. The affair wasn't just outside the marriage, it was inside the family. That's a betrayal of not just her, but of their son. It's a special kind of pain, right? A violation of trust on so many levels. And that secret audio recording, it proves this was never just about passion. This code from Allison lays the whole conspiracy bare. They weren't just cheating, they were actively plotting to steal Juliet's entire life's work, her successful chain of bakeries, and kick her out of her own home. She wasn't just a cheated-on wife, she was a target. This wasn't a crime of passion, it was a cold, calculated plot about greed. So you can imagine, this discovery changes everything. The heartbreak, the pain, it just crystallizes into this cold, hard resolve. It's a fascinating psychological shift, right? When grief turns to anger, and anger turns to strategy. Juliet goes from being a victim to a master strategist. She realizes that just exposing them, no, that's not going to be enough. They need to face a reckoning that matches the scale of their deception.
And her plan. It is methodical, and it is designed for maximum public exposure. Step 1. Swap the personal lubricant with industrial-strength superglue. Step 2. Hide a digital recorder in the bedroom. Step 3. Stage a fake business trip to get out of the house. And the final, brilliant step, rig a remote-activated smoke trap to bring the whole neighborhood running.
Okay, so now we get to the climax. Imagine this. Juliet waits at her neighbor's house, her phone connected to that hidden recorder. She's just listening as Julian and Allison walk right into her trap, their laughter echoing in her ears, totally clueless about what's about to hit them. And then it happens. The trap is sprung. Allison's confident laughter just cuts off and turns into a scream of pure panic. The industrial superglue has done its job. They are literally, physically trapped together in the most compromising position you can possibly imagine.
But that's just part 1 of the plan. With the first part complete, Juliet activates the second. From her neighbor's window, she remotely triggers the smoke trap. Suddenly, thick, black smoke starts billowing out of her kitchen window, creating the perfect illusion of a house fire and making sure that help and an audience is on its way.
Of course, the neighbors see the smoke, they immediately call the fire department. And suddenly you've got sirens blaring through this quiet neighborhood, amplifying the panic inside the house and signaling that this private little betrayal is about to become a very, very public spectacle. Their secret is about to be blasted wide open. And here is the most brutal twist of all. The fire chief leading the response team, the first person to break down the door to save the people inside, is none other than her son and Allison's husband, Daniel.
Can you even begin to imagine that moment? Through the recorder, Juliet hears her son's voice just falter. The man who rushed in thinking he was fighting a fire instead finds his own father and his own wife, naked and physically stuck together. That question, what is this? That isn't just confusion. That is the sound of a man's entire world completely shattering, the ultimate collateral damage.
The public humiliation is total. You've got Julian and Allison being carried out on stretchers covered by sheets in front of the entire neighborhood, with whispers and camera phones capturing every single second. But the story, believe it or not, doesn't end there. Now we get to the aftermath.
So at the hospital, while they're being treated for their adhesive situation, Juliet pulls off one last personal act of revenge. The doctor prescribes a soothing skin ointment. In a moment of just pure audacity, Juliet swaps the tubes for mustard, just to make sure their physical discomfort would match their public humiliation for a little while longer.
This table really just lays it all out, doesn't it? It perfectly sums up the fallout. Juliet transforms from a betrayed wife into this empowered business owner. Julian and Allison, they go from secret plotters to publicly disgraced outcasts. And Daniel, though he's been deeply betrayed, begins that long process of healing.
In the end, out of all the ashes of their family, something new is actually built. With Julian and Allison gone, Juliet and Daniel pour all their energy into the bakery. And supported by a community that rallies behind her, Juliet's business doesn't just survive, it thrives. It becomes more successful than ever before.
And so that really brings us to the final question, right? Was this an elaborate and, you could argue, well-deserved act of justice against two people who tried to destroy a life? Or was it a cautionary tale about how far someone will go when they're pushed to the absolute edge? That's definitely something worth thinking about.